Destiny 2 is impossible to recommend to anyone. I say this out of love for the franchise, and from personal experience. A couple of weeks ago, my friend saw me playing Destiny 2 on Steam. He DM'd me and said that he was thinking of trying Destiny for the first time. I was so excited to hear him say that. Nice. I hear the story and lore are great. Should I start with the first game? Suddenly my excitement died. Destiny's story is great, but my friend isn't ever going to experience it. He's a PC gamer. Destiny 1 isn't available on PC, so he'd have to buy a console just to play it. But even if he were to buy a console, he'd soon run into another massive problem. Half of Destiny 2 is gone. There's no way to play through the entire Destiny story. If a new PC player bought every single piece of Destiny content they could, they'll never see the invasion of the city, they'll never see Osiris wield the light, they'll never know Uldren Sov, and they'll never get to see his resurrection as Crow. Think about it for a sec. The first time a new PC player will spend any real time with Cayde 6 will be in the final shape. So many expansions and seasonal activities that are essential to the story are gone. My journey and experience with this franchise is something I really want to share, but experiencing Destiny the way I did is simply impossible now. How could I recommend a game that's missing so many important pieces of itself? I can't recommend it, and I didn't. I want Destiny back, and I want it to stick around this time. So here's my pitch for the next Bungie game. Destiny, the Light and Dark Saga. 10 years of Destiny from vanilla D1 all the way up to the final shape, all in one game, playable online and offline. Here are my main goals with this pitch. Bring back the original Destiny experience to PC and modern consoles. Bring back all Sunset and seasonal Destiny 2 content. And most importantly of all, make it possible to experience all of this content the way it was originally intended to be played. That last point is kind of tricky to explain, but it'll make more sense in a minute. The best way I can explain Destiny, the Light and Dark Saga is starting at the beginning. So, what will Destiny, the Light and Dark Saga look like on its release date? That's pretty simple. It will be Destiny 1 as it was on its original launch day. Original balance, original meta, warts and all. The Vault of Glass raid will release 1 week later, and for the next month, that's all there will be. The community will be able to soak up vanilla Destiny all over again, all together. But 1 month after the Light and Dark Saga releases, Destiny 1's first expansion, The Dark Below, will be unlocked for everyone. It'll play just like it did on its original release date back in 2014. But with one exception. The director will have this sitting at the top of it. I'm calling this feature the timeline, and its inclusion into this hypothetical game is what made me decide to turn this pitch from a shower thought into a video script. This timeline works kind of like a time machine. Let's say that I was a player who just didn't like The Dark Below. I don't want to play it, I don't want to see it on my director, I don't even want it to show that my light level cap has increased. I want to stay in Destiny 1 vanilla. Well, that player could go to the timeline and select Destiny 1 launch day, and the director and all features will shift back to the way they were upon Destiny's original launch day. This will be available at all times, allowing new and old Destiny players to play Destiny's content as it was intended when that content initially released. What inspired me to come up with this feature was when I created a new Guardian the other day. I wanted to play through Destiny 2 from the beginning on a fresh character. Now, you just heard me complain about the first few years of Destiny 2 disappearing, so I won't complain about that again. But as I was starting up Shadowkeep on this new character, I ran into another annoying issue. These freaking Star Wars Cabal were everywhere, Callus's ship is in orbit, and the sky is going all red all the time. I wanted to play Shadowkeep, but the game world had completely moved on to the point that it was really distracting. The timeline feature would fix that for me. I could be playing as a Guardian who has already defeated the Witness, but if I wanted to run it back and play an older campaign, then I could shift the timeline backwards so that my game world mirrors the content I'm playing. Alright, Now let's get back to the Dark Below. 1 week after the expansion launches, its raid, Crota's End, will release. Then 1 month later, Destiny's next expansion will drop into the game, and the pattern continues from there. Now, some of you might be shouting something at the screen right now. Why are we releasing this game in chunks? Why not release it all at the same time? Don't get me wrong, releasing everything all at once would be cool. But if we did that, I think the entire community would actually be worse off for it. The entire community experiencing new content all at the same time is one of the parts of Destiny that I miss the most. The hype for launch day, completing the new campaign with your friends, prepping for the day 1 raid that's just around the corner. We'd miss out on all of that if 10 years of Destiny just dropped all at the same time. There's not going to be a community-wide day 1 raid experience if 16 raids are all added on the same day. If the Witch Queen's campaign came out on the same day as Destiny 1's vanilla campaign, there's going to be a massive chunk of the community that skips out on all that older content. It's totally valid not to want to play every single thing, but rolling out content every month in waves makes for a more synchronized journey with the community. Plus, everything dropping all at once can be overwhelming. I think the pressure of putting out videos on 10 years of Destiny content all at once might kill a few of our Destiny YouTubers. So, every month will be 1 new expansion. This continues all the way through Destiny 1 up until Destiny 2. The transition from Destiny 1 gameplay to Destiny 2 gameplay all within the same game is going to be a pretty unique challenge. But I actually think Destiny 2's first campaign mission gives us the perfect framing device for this gameplay shift. This is the only time throughout the video where I'm pitching a change to the original source material. But I think this is a cool idea, it's a pretty small change, and I think it will make the transition between the 2 games a bit less jarring. In Destiny, the Light and Dark Saga, we'll have the first mission of Destiny 2's campaign play out a little bit differently. You're going to keep your Destiny 1 power set, UI, and weapons all the way up until Gaul traps the Traveler and cuts us off from the light. Then, once we regain our connection to the light from the Shard of the Traveler, that's when we get the Destiny 2 power sets and the new UI. Okay, so Destiny 1 and 2 coexisting within the same game is going to be the most difficult part of this entire hypothetical project. I'm just going to be real with y'all. It's going to make some things a little awkward. For example, Destiny 1 Hawkmoon doesn't work the same way as Destiny 2 Hawkmoon. So should one replace the other? Certain Destiny 1 mechanics might be overpowered in the Destiny 2 sandbox, and vice versa. An example of this, Sunsinger self-revives were not accounted for when Bungie was designing Destiny 2's raids, dungeons, and legendary campaigns. So, with all of these issues, I think the ideal solution is also the simplest one. Keep all of it. 2 Hawkmoons can coexist, each with their own mechanics, just tag which one is from which game within your inventory. Sunsinger Warlocks should be allowed to bring their class into Destiny 2 content, even if that wasn't the original intent. This deviation from Bungie's original design is a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, but I don't think we should take anything away from the player just because we wouldn't have had it the first time through. Player freedom and letting players keep everything that they've earned is a better alternative than snatching away what players already have. But if you want to play Destiny 2 content without any carryover from Destiny 1, of course you'll be able to self-restrict yourself, and you can even set it as a rule for your fire team. However, this balancing act with player freedom, original intent, and balance gets even more complicated when we consider the Crucible and Gambit. It'd be really fun to have a Titan be able to thunder crash a Sunsinger Warlock who just self-rezzed, but Destiny 1 and 2 simply cannot fit together in a balanced way when it comes to PvP. I think that this is a problem that we just have to put into the community's hands. Custom games. There should be tons and tons and tons of parameters for players to mess with in order for them to forge their own matches of Crucible, Gambit, and all PvE content. These options can include loadout restrictions, weapon balance options. I want custom games to be so customizable that everyone can find the PvP gameplay they prefer. Give the community all of the tools they need to craft their own experiences. Say for example, somebody wants to play Destiny 1 vanilla PvP with the original meta and everything. That should be something easily made in custom games. And if somebody decides that they want that same experience, but with a nerfed Vex Mythoclast, then they should be able to make that themselves as well. There's no pleasing everyone. With these two games combined, balance is just gonna be messy. But if you give the community these custom tools, they'll be able to find their Destiny experience, no matter how niche. Hey, this is editor Fancy Phoenix cutting in here. It's a little bit of an awkward placement, but I didn't know where else to put this. The longer I work on editing this video, the more and more I hate the name Destiny, the Light and Dark Saga. I don't know, it's a bit too cumbersome to say. Please leave name suggestions in the comments. Alright, let's get back to that release schedule. After the release of Destiny 2's vanilla content, the pattern will continue. One expansion per month up till Forsaken. Now, I think the pace of releases here may need to slow down slightly. Keep in mind that each expansion from this point on also came with multiple seasons. So let's say maybe one expansion every 2 months, but nothing longer than that. From here, the release cycle continues. Every 2 months, we get a new expansion and all of its seasons. 1 week later, we get that expansion's raid. 2 months later, we get the next expansion and its seasons, and so on and so forth, until we reach the final shape. The final shape follows that same pattern as the others, but with a couple of exceptions. On its launch day, it won't include any seasonal content. Then 1 week later, we'll get the raid. Then the day after that, we get Destiny, the Light and Dark Saga's final mission. Excision, the 12-player cooperative activity from Destiny 2, where we kill the Witness once and for all. With the death of the Witness comes the ultimate unlock for our Guardians. Unrestricted use of Transcendence. I mean that the player will now be able to mix and match any ability from either game with any other abilities. Do you want your Hunter to be able to use his Arc Blade from Destiny 1 with Threadling Grenades and a Smoke Bomb? If so, you're an absolute psychopath, but gosh darn it, you can do it anyways. Unrestricted Transcendence will be incredibly broken. Super OP, but that's the point. To unlock Unrestricted Transcendence, you'll have had to complete the entire Destiny saga. At this point, you're a god killer with godlike power, and no enemy can stand against you. But of course, this is optional. Fireteam leaders can turn this off if you want to go into any form of content without an OP monster on your team. Now that you've struck the Witness down and have unlocked your most powerful abilities, we get the final cutscene. The credits roll, and the Light and Dark Saga comes to its close. It's not that I don't like the Final Shape's seasonal content. Well, in this case, I guess it's episodic content. I still don't get the difference, honestly. It's just that the death of the Witness is the perfect natural endpoint for a game with the massive scope that this one has. Plus, the closer we get to modern day, the less and less necessary a game like the Light and Dark Saga is. Right now, you can still play most of the Edge of Fate and Renegades content within Destiny, but that cannot be said for other expansions like Forsaken. After the release of the Final Shape, all content for the Light and Dark Saga will be accessible in-game. New players will be able to start their journey through Destiny wherever they want. And returning players will be able to use the timeline feature to replay whatever content they want with whatever gear or abilities they want. Custom lobbies and the timeline feature will become more important than ever now. Now, a few important notes before the end. There are a lot of quality of life features from Destiny 2 that I think would fit well within the Light and Dark Saga, even though they conflict with the original Destiny vanilla experience. I'm not 100% sure if we should include these day one or not. I'm gonna let y'all decide. For example, the modern Vault from Destiny 2 is the best that it has ever been in either game. I'd love to have the newest version of the Vault available to me on day one of the Light and Dark Saga, but that is not how it originally was in the original Destiny, so I'm torn. Same with armor synthesis. Not having cosmetic slots for armor would be really hard for me to give up. Having it available to players on day one would be preferable in my opinion, instead of having them wait till the season of the Splicer. Quality of life changes are really hard to give up. But I also think that keeping that core original Destiny experience is super important. I honestly don't know what to do with these, so please let me know in the comments. Another thing, part of the timeline's function is to preserve the meta and balance of previous years of Destiny, but I can see that becoming complicated and irritating to some people. For example, let's say someone gets Galahorn on week 1 of Destiny, the Light and Dark Saga. Does that mean it gets nerfed 1 month later with the new expansion? Are weapons damage numbers going to change every time the timeline is manipulated by the players? It's a really tricky situation. I think the solution here would just to make it a toggleable thing. Like, you can set the timeline to only change the director and destinations, but not weapon balance? Or is that way too much? I don't want the timeline to look too complex. I just really don't know for sure. And one of the most important features I want for Destiny, the Light and Dark Saga, is for the entire game to be playable offline, and the ability to use peer-to-peer multiplayer. Not being 100% reliant on Bungie's servers is the only way to ensure the game's preservation. But offline play has so many more challenges associated with it. Do y'all think an offline Destiny is even possible? Alright, before we wrap it all up, I want to bring us back down to earth for a second. I am not a game developer, and everything I just suggested is far easier said than done. Reading back through this script, I recognize that this game pitch is a complete fantasy, and probably not a realistic request. But that's part of the fun. Both Destiny games were and are really important to me, and I want to share that with others. But unfortunately, it's harder than ever to recommend Destiny to other people when so much has been lost. I really want a Destiny 1 port for PC, and even more than that, I want a Destiny 3. But if I'm being honest, I think what I want most is to be able to replay and share the past 10 years of Destiny with my friends. And I think that the Light and Dark Saga would be a pretty cool way to do that. Please let me know what you think of my game idea in the comments. What do you think Bungie's next game should be? This is a really small YouTube channel, so hitting the like button, subscribing to my channel, and swiping left on the comment section to hype this video, it all helps me so much, and I'd super appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you again soon.